go nuts. He's crazy.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the new retro Indiana Jones Temple of Doom short round in Indiana Jones. And I've got to say that these are the retro figures for $12. These probably aren't the greatest figures that are ever made. They're not horrible, they're not great, they're middle of the road. I'm glad that they made them. I'm excited that I found them at Target. I'm gonna take a look at these, and we're gonna look at this, compare them to other iterations from the past, and then I'm also gonna tear into these and see if I can get them to work for this line, because they were on sale for $10 at Target. Figured, why not check them out? We're gonna check this and more coming up. So I really don't think this is a widespread problem or anything, but I was trying to figure out which of these was in better shape and which one was worse. Worst shape one gets opened and the bubble just literally fell right off. I mean, the card's almost undamaged. It almost looked like there's no glue holding it on. The only glue holding it on right there, maybe, I don't know. That is really strange, but that made me decide which one to open. Hey, that decision was really easy. I want to start out by taking a look at the packaging. So we're going to first take a look at short round here. And this is really kind of exciting because we don't have a short round to fit in with the vintage line. So with that, having a vintage style, vintage-esque short round is really cool. It's pretty interesting that we're going to have him. And I'm looking at the one, I'm looking at him, and it looks like he's almost even got a blemish on him in the package. That's crazy. But the cardstock doesn't seem too thin, but yet it's warped. So maybe that's a sign of it being too thin. And really all of the ones, the cards looked pretty decent from the ones that I saw and the ones I picked up. So with that, I actually had some trouble trying to decide which one to open until one of the bubbles just slid right off. But yeah, there's the back of it, and it's strange. It only shows those two. So it's like, is this a whole wave? Is this a Target exclusive? Maybe I missed the point. Maybe these are Target exclusives. The only place you can get them is Target. I don't know, but when I got them, and I was like, oh, it's cool, I got these two. Whereas the rest of them, well, the rest of them probably come in a separate wave, or they're going to be hard to track down somewhere else. Now, here is the Indiana Jones one, and it says the Temple of Doom, which is the first time we're getting Temple of Doom figures, and I do have a little bit of stress mark right here on mine. So the cardstock still feels decent. It doesn't feel nearly as flimsy as the other ones, the old ones, but it does say Kenner on it, so that's nice. It does kind of show a picture of what he does and his slicing this goes on. And the backs are exactly the same. I mean, I would have thought, why couldn't they do a continuation and have like 6, 8, 12, 15, whatever backs of all of the figures as a running progression? I don't like that, but we got to live with what it is. And also, I don't like that they put a big old pamphlet of legalese and then half of the card backs legalese. All that's not really feeling retro. You're starting to lose the retro feel, but it still looks pretty good. So I'm going to start here with short round and move into looking at Indiana Jones. But the figure himself, it looks pretty good. So there's a kind of the whole thought process of what does it look like? Does it look good for a modern figure, or does it look good for a Kenner figure? Let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit more. Or does it look bad for a Kenner figure? I mean, the sculpts, none of the Kenner sculpts were that great. I didn't think Kenner did a fantastic job with their sculpts. I just think Kenner made sort of a figure that sort of worked and made it happen. So with that, you've got him with kind of some gray pants, and he's got this shirt of his, and that's fine. It feels like it's something, it's got a number on the back, 30461, whatever that is, and all kinds of writing on it, but I think he's a good looking figure. He's got his baseball cap and all of that paint. His eyes are painted, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. He does come with one accessory. And so this is where I feel like it's a little bit of a jip. Now you're going to see what Hasbro, the same company, did in 2008 for like $8 versus what you're doing $12 in 2023. But with 5 points of articulation, and he doesn't even have knee articulation like every other one has, which I'm not too upset about, because most people that collect this will keep it on the card or just put him on the shelf and stand there, so he's not going to do anything too crazy. But here is the good old short round. Now here he is next to the 2008 version of short round, and so it's kind of up to you to decide which one is more properly and adequately scaled. So we'll bring in this Indiana Jones, And then we bring in the 2008 Indiana Jones. And as you can see, the 2008 Indiana Jones is actually a little bit taller, but he is, even though he's taller than this Indiana Jones, that short round's shorter. And I'm not sure what scale is correct, but as you can see, the new one is significantly taller. So with that being said, though, the original one they made in 2008, or whatever year it was that they made him, 2012, or I don't know what year they actually pulled that figure off, has a lot more interesting stuff going on with him. He's got the jacket more accurate to the picture that's right back here. He's got the hat that's more accurate, and he's carrying the bag. So all this kind of looks pretty much right, like you would expect it to be. And then with that, the only accessory that comes with the retro one is a torch. And so the torch does look a lot more like what we saw with Well of Souls, except bigger, but the coloration of it and sort of the design of it looks more like Well of Souls. This does look a little bit more modern, what we got over here. It's kind of funny, in 2023 we got something that looks way more dated than what we got back in 08 or whenever this really came out. And this one here is the one that looks really modern. But let's see what he looks like with this backpack. So if you have the other iteration from the 3.75 inch line, I think the backpack fits it really well. I never really was 100% sure how this backpack was supposed to go on. I always thought it was weird and goofy, but it was an accessory you needed to complete your collection. And so with that, it would work on him just fine. There's Short Round. I'm happy with him, but I wish he either had more accessories or a little bit better kind of paint scheme, or maybe I'm just spoiled from having had this for so long. Next up, we get into the Indiana Jones from the Temple of Doom. And so this one here, he's got the bare chest going on, all of that. And so it does look pretty good. Now, his skin tone is a little bit vibrant, probably more vibrant than I would think it should need to be. But, I mean, you can see skin tones just strange. It's bright. It's almost neon. It's almost like his flesh is 1990s neon. Now, he does go back to the 7 points of articulation, which is okay. It's okay. I think it's fine. And everything's fine here. How are you? And so with that, we can sort of kind of get into comparing him to the other ones here in a little bit. But I mean, there's not much to say about him. His arm does have the spring gimmick, and he can't hold on to it as he's slashing. He does have where his hand has been injured. It's wrapped, so that's kind of cool. And then it goes up and down, and I think it does a little bit better than the first go around with Indiana Jones. Am I ever going to find his accessory? Where did it go? So to be honest, I felt like 15 years ago when these were out, I really thought these were way too expensive for $8. And then now these are 12, and I'm like, oh, that's a value. No, it's not really a value. It's still a bit overpriced. They should be 10. I would be okay with 10, but 12, okay, whatever. But this one here, again, is a much better looking figure. And they did a much better job with it. But they weren't going for good looking, they were going for retro looking. They were going to match Kenner's style, and I guess they sort of did. And then, of course, they already have the legs and the head, so they just did a new torso and arm. That's kind of cheaping out considering you only have one accessory. This past one 15 years ago, you got a satchel, you got the whip, you got this one here, and the accessories, you're comparing the accessories, they're not too far off, but this one does look significantly better, and they were going for looking like a cheap Kenner accessory. I understand that, but I like this accessory a little bit better. But I'm really not one that gets too upset about accessories, but would have nice at least had a satchel and be able to properly recreate the scene. You can't properly recreate the scene, and I know Ewoks had satchels kind of stuff, so that's not outside of the realms of possibility and reality with this line, but they chose not to do it. Well, they chose not to do it with this figure, but they're going to do it with a future release. And by some strange act of God, I was able to get the whip and the gun in the original Indy's hand. Original as in original Hasbro remake retro. Now, comparing these, you can see they have the exact same pants, almost the exact same coloration to the pants. And then you get up into the chest area where that's different. And I think this arm is this arm is different. They could have just reused that arm, but they didn't. And then, of course, this arm's different because it's this arm here. So we're going to kind of see if we can use these pieces. But I was able to get the whip and the gun to stay in there, but it doesn't stay in very well. So let's see how well this hand can hold this ginormous whip handle and see what's going on with it. Can this hand hold it? And it should be. I think it's a new arm, so it's a different hand. So let's see how it can hold it. And yeah, it's struggling to hold it too. Yeah, it's a lot of work to get that to hold. It doesn't really hold that. So let's see about the gun. Now, here it goes to hold the gun. Now, it is a much tighter grip on this one. Even though it's still pliable, it's a much tighter grip. And with a tighter grip, it does hold the gun. Hopefully it doesn't go flying. Nope, it doesn't, so. All right, we'll try it with the whip. Oh my goodness, I'm afraid this thing's just gonna stretch this tiny little hand out. Oh, nope. All right, let's try it again. Come on, you can do it. Let's go push it straight from the front. Okay, so yeah, it actually holds it a little bit better. Actually, well, okay, well that's all I'm gonna try with that. So here's how it looks with the rest of the ones that have been released that I got my hands on so far. I haven't gotten any of the other ones other than these, but I used the German soldier's wrench with the vintage one because I didn't have a vintage wrench and I wasn't really going to mess with it. Then, of course, this guy's just about the same. I lost her monkey. She fell, she took a shelf dive, and she punted the monkey across the toy room there, and I cannot find it anywhere. So maybe when I do my collection video, someone will spot it. Hey, there's the monkey. Where's the monkey? And then there's Toad. Toad is still looking okay. So I think that this line is actually pretty decent. So far what they put out, the quality's not the greatest, but I think 90% of people want to keep on the card. Have a representation on the card. If the representation on the card is all you want, it's fantastic. Once you open them up, they're still not horrible because the original vintage ones themselves are the best. These aren't as good as the original vintage ones, but they are a 10th or 1/1000th the cost. Anyhow, yeah, I can overlook some of the bad quality because of the fact that we're getting them for a decent price, but still 12 is a bit much. I'm also going to tear into these and see if I can get them to work for this line because they were on sale for $10 at Target. Figured why not check them out. We're going to check this and more coming up. So I'm not a huge fan of these super small figures in this small toy line, the World Adventures of Indiana Jones, but it comes with some cool accessories and stuff, so I'm going to check this out, see if I can use this with this line, if it's going to work. Let's go ahead and open it up and see. Here it is right out of the package. I had high hopes that they were going to, with such a big box, look at all this empty space. Look at all that empty space. Such a big box. I figured it'd be a little bit bigger than this. I figured that it would be able to accommodate this. Oh man, this doesn't leave me high hopes for the motorcycle. And then this wax bag of accessories. But there's really not much to the set. There is this horse that has articulation in all of the legs though, so I will give him that, and it has a nice pose to it and that kind of stuff. The head goes up and down, reins for him to hold on to, adjustable hands on the figure, so he has head 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it is 7 points of articulation because he has the two hands that move around, so that's pretty good. So the figure actually is a little bit better than I would think. It's a little bit better than what I've been seeing with some of these other with this kind of line. But the horse itself, it's kind of really tiny, and you do have this plug-in satchel piece, and you can have this grail. So not grail, the cup. Only the pintnits. Oh, I'm missing all my words. Okay, so we've got a little snake, which is okay. It's kind of cool. Spook the horse, and then you have this satchel, which is okay. Here's the vintage horse of the vintage Indian. I just really thought that we would see a similar size, maybe not quite as big, but a little bit bigger than this. I'm a little disappointed in the size, especially since the box is so huge. When you look at it, that box would easily fit a vintage one, a retro one. I'm kind of concerned that we won't get a retro horse. Well, it looks like Indy's on a pony ride. What a bad idea for $10, but the accessories are kind of cool. That's okay. Let's look at short round on it. Still looks too small for short round for the new retro short round. Maybe it'll look okay if you put the 2008 short round on it. Still looks like a pony ride, but I guess you can pull off your old short round on this horse if that's something you want. As if anyone's really going to care, but he has an extra point of articulation out that way. I didn't notice till I went to go put his satchel on. His satchel does not fit on this Indy at all. It is way too small for that Indy, but anyhow, that's how that looks. Well, it's not right, but it is what it is. My hopes for this are kind of lowered, but it's probably not going to be big enough for what I was wanting. I was kind of thinking it'd be cool. I mean, maybe if it was just a little bit too small, we can still get by with it. Let's open it up and see what's going on. This is just ridiculous and wasteful. Absolutely ridiculous and wasteful. I don't know what they were thinking. They're not saving the world. They're killing a tree. It doesn't make sense. This is insanity. But this is how it looks on the inside. Just all this dead, empty space. Thinking that you might possibly be getting something a little bit bigger or more for your money. It's strange. I don't like the package where you can't see the item that's inside. And maybe this is yet another reason why. Here's out of the package, and there are quite a few accessories to it. The vehicle itself actually looks kind of okay. Even this guy kind of doesn't want to sit in it just right, but he can grip the handles because of the hand. He has is a removable tire on it, so there's some cool stuff they've done with this. Overall, I'm sure we can do something with that. You've got a missile launcher that can mount to the front, or I bet you can remove this tire and mount this to the back also, if that's something that you want. Is it spring-loaded? Yeah, it's spring-loaded. So that's a whole lot of fun there, I guess. But as you can see, Short Round fits in here. The retro version fits in there, and I'm guessing the other one could fit in there. I would have to try to force it. I don't want to force it. The legs are kind of a wide stance on this one. I guess I could try to get him in there. But as you can see, he does fit, which is kind of something I figured. Short Round's a smaller figure. Short Round should fit in there. But before we try this one, let's see what this guy looks like on here, and he is too big for it, of course, but I guess you can get away with it if you want to. Obviously, we're going to be getting another Indiana Jones that looks like that, and it's going to have a satchel and all that kind of stuff coming in the future, but also we want to see, I'm going to take a little bit of time to see if I can fit this Short Round in there. Let's check that out. And 2008 Short Round fits in there pretty good. Oh, is he 2010? Whenever, by the time he finally came out, and then he was kind of hard to get. Is what I understand. So I really wasn't collecting the Indiana Jones back then, but also two more accessories that come with this. This is a coiled up whip, and we've got this artifact. So pretty cool stuff, I guess, for $10. Is it worth $10? I don't know. So I have this other motorcycle here from the last run of these 15 years ago, and I think it looks vastly better, obviously, but there's a lot of similarities to it. A lot of interesting similarities to these, but no sidecar. Now it looks like it might have had a sidecar and I'm just missing it. Maybe I am missing a sidecar to this. I don't know. I guess I should look into that, but just looking at them, this is way bigger. I was just kind of hoping that this thing here would be helpful. I could use it alongside with this, but I don't know. Doesn't feel like they're from the same worlds. One thing I learned from Rian Johnson from his Star Wars movie was that subverting expectations is good. You can sort of semi-plug that in and just get away with a sidecar on this, but they don't match colors, and it doesn't really plug in that well. It'd be okay for display, not for play. Wait. Oh, it's not good to subvert expectations. Oh, I got that one wrong. Molaram, prepare to meet Kali. So this is a bridge scene that I built and put together. Well, this is actually kind of integrated into my display here. This is how they look on the bridge in that scene. The most memorable scene of the movie, in my opinion. Is fantastic, and they look okay. They get the job done. If you're going for a Kenner look, definitely don't fit in with the 2008 line. But will we get a Molaram? Will we get any of these other ones in the retro? I sure hope so. Alright, so this is my look at the Hasbro Retro Series Indiana Jones Temple of Doom figures, the first two that are out, and we've got a Short Round and the Indiana Jones in this getup. I really think that it's exciting that we got these, and my expectations were not too high, so they're almost met. I think that they could have done a little bit better with kind of the color of his chest. I would have liked a little bit more accessories with both of them, just a couple more. A satchel would have been nice, or for Indiana Jones, and just anything for Short Round, anything, give him a rock, I don't know, but that would have been nice for the $12 price point. I just don't feel like they're hitting the $12 price point at all. But I do like the fact that we have them in the package, and I do like the fact that we actually got them. So at the end of the day, yes, it could have been better. But looking at them compared to the 2008 ones, the 2008 versions blow them away. These blow them out of the water. And I do like these better than these. And these actually, the vehicle isn't horrible and the horse isn't horrible, but their size is. It's a waste of packaging. It's very deceptive with these Worlds of Adventure figures. The figures actually were a little bit better than I thought they'd be, but I don't collect that micro scale. And I really wished that everything would be a little bit bigger with them. But anyhow, Let me know what you think about these in the comments below. I'm interested in hearing what everyone else thinks of these. Have you picked these up? Have you seen them in your targets? Have you seen them around? Are you going to go in on this line? Are you avoiding this line? Or are you waiting for clearance? That's a smart move. But then again, you might miss the boat. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe to Deer Hunter out.
Wow, holy smoke! Crash landing! Pay money, you owe me 10 cents.
Maybe he like older.